You know, ever since I was little, I always wanted to be Cruella de Vil, and now I am.
Like, now we live in a country where a man could say, now I'm a woman. Now I'm a woman. And we will call you by your name as a woman. But that doesn't mean that a doctor ain't gonna call you until you need a prostate examination.
I don't attract gay men, and I'm not attracted to gay men. These are not the men that are interested in me in that capacity. I do that when I go to the straight rooms.
20 years ago, I knew that transgenders was gonna be a thing. Earliest I had seen that word transgender was Baphomet, the transgender.
So Katt Williams and D.L. Hughley just teared into Magic Johnson's son, EJ, and they're saying this is exactly what happens when mental illness is endlessly indulged. In case you missed it, EJ is now getting clowned again online. This time, EJ was spotted in Paris modeling a woman's leather dress and what appeared to be size 20 heels. And this comes just weeks after EJ sparked backlash after claiming he looks better than any woman and only attracts straight men. But wait, if a man is attracted to EJ Johnson, how is that man straight? The math is not making sense. And here's where it gets even more confusing. So, based on EJ's own statements, he's moved away from he slash him pronouns and prefers they slash them or she slash her. And he won't even let his parents call him son.
But even I told them on my birthday, in June, that I was like, we're not doing he, we're not doing man, we're not doing gay. And it was very freeing. You know, even like son, I was like, you know, the world tried to give me that label, like Magic Johnson's son, and I was like, well, he's dead. And now there is Miss Thing. Like, we're not doing that either.
So EJ dates men but doesn't identify as gay, and then, at the same time, he rejects being labeled a woman or trans woman. Now, many outlets describe EJ as non-binary or gender fluid, but he rejects those labels too, which is fine, I guess. But when EJ says things like, I look better than any woman, and claims straight men are attracted to him, there's a label for that, and it's called attention seeking. And now D.L. Hughley is chiming in and saying, you can call yourself whatever you want, but at the end of the day, biology doesn't lie.
Like, now we live in a country where a man could say, now I'm a woman. Now I'm a woman. And we will call you by your name as a woman. But that doesn't mean that a doctor ain't gonna call you until you need a prostate examination. You can wear a sundress when you go. Yeah. You're still getting the same thing I'm getting. So happy anniversary, I guess. You can say you're a thing and you're that.
Yeah.
You like, and you have to, like, for now, I'm a white man trapped in this black man's body.
Yeah.
My name is Chad.
Yeah.
Now that ain't gonna work good for the police. Wait, I'm a white man, but both of y'all get out. But the first. Yeah.
And then there's Katt Williams. He's looking at this from a different angle, and he actually thinks none of this is funny. In fact, Katt claims that this whole agenda in Hollywood comes from some dark ancient rituals. During his appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast, Katt made some claims linking transgender identity, Hollywood success, and the occult figure Baphomet. Katt claimed that in these rituals, followers had to kiss Baphomet's ring to show loyalty, and based on that, he said he knew way back then that trans people were going to become a giant topic in culture, and that kissing the ring, basically bowing to power, would become normal.
20 years ago, I knew that transgenders was gonna be a thing. It wasn't because I was a prophet. It's just I had gotten so much information that I understood that things are secular. So I understood that the earliest I had seen that word transgender was Baphomet, the transgender. And so I knew that in the ritual of Baphomet, the transgender, to show allegiance to him, you had to kiss his ring.
Really?
And it said both of those things. So I knew that both of those things would become popular in the future.
And Katt's whole argument is that Hollywood is running these rituals deliberately to humiliate and control celebrities. According to Katt, these rituals, like men wearing dresses, kissing the ring, and Baphomet symbolism, are not random. It's designed to break you down. In his view, once a celebrity agrees to do something humiliating, something that goes against their ego or image they're now own, they've proven they'll do whatever they're told. And that's how the industry industry keeps people in line. And if you try to speak out, they can destroy you with what they have on you. So, you stay quiet, keep playing the game, and keep climbing. And Katt believes all this trans stuff is part of it because it's not E.J. Johnson. Every other celebrity these days has such a child among the general population. Studies put trans and non-binary identity somewhere around 1 to 2% of people. But among celebrity kids, it's way more than that. So, if Hollywood runs these rituals to break down and control celebrities, like Katt claims, why would it stop there? Celebrity kids are right there. They grow up backstage on sets in mansions, full of industry people. If the parents are owned, the kids are assets, too. Now, for some of these celebrities, having someone like that in the family is personally humiliating, especially for the alpha athletes or traditional family types. But they smile, do the interviews, post the supportive Instagram stories, and take the praise. Why? Because they've already learned the lesson. Do what you're told, and you win. And many people believe this is exactly the case with Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson is one of the most famous, beloved, traditionally masculine athletes of all time. Lakers legend, always smiling, charismatic billionaire businessman. The guy was basically America's happy uncle. But son, E.J. flamboyant, wears women's clothing, makeup, and heels and claims to only date straight men. And in public, Magic claims he supports E.J. 100%.
When my son came out, I was so happy for him and happy for us as parents, and we love him, and EJ is amazing, and so you gotta support your child.
But honestly, every time Magic is asked about EJ, his body language betrays him. He seems nervous, stumbling over his words, not keeping eye contact. It just doesn't come across as genuine.
In the black community, young gay men or young ladies who are lesbian, they're afraid to tell their parents. Just like I want my son EJ to talk to me about everything. I want my son Andre to talk to me, my daughter Elisa, and that's what it's about. Yes, I go to church. You know, I'm a Christian. But at the same time, you know, this is reality. You know, my son is gay. That's reality.
Also, it's interesting how in every interview, Magic refers to EJ as gay, but we heard from EJ himself that he rejects that label. So, it makes you wonder if Magic is really as accepting as he claims.
Your youngest son chose to live his life as a gay man.
That's right. I don't care. You want to be a gay man? I'm supporting that.
Right.
I'm supporting that. I'm supporting you.
But here's the thing. There are a lot of people who believe Magic is privately devastated, or at least uncomfortable, with EJ's lifestyle. However, he can't say it. Not even a little bit. And here's why. First, Magic's image is everything. This is the same man who contracted HIV in the early 90s, retired in shock, and spent decades rebuilding his image as a responsible, loving family man. He's worth over $1 billion now. A lot of that from endorsements, public speaking, and being liked. So, if he even hinted that he doesn't approve of EJ's lifestyle, the media would destroy him and sponsors would run. And then, Magic played in the NBA alongside guys like Charles Barkley and Larry Bird. Not exactly the most progressive locker rooms, but by the time EJ came out publicly, the entire culture had shifted. Magic had to either get with the program or become a villain. He chose the program, but does he really believe it? Well, a lot of people doubt it. Now, circling back to Katt's theory about industry rituals, Katt's whole thing is that Hollywood runs these rituals to control celebrities, and the celebrity has to smile through it. Now, look at Magic. For a hyper-masculine former athlete, having your son on TV in a dress and heels must be weird. Not because there's anything wrong with EJ, but because it goes against everything Magic was taught to be valued. And yet, Magic sits courtside, smiles for photos with EJ, and posts supportive messages on Father's Day. He's kissing that ring Katt talked about. So, maybe EJ isn't the victim here. Maybe it's actually Magic. Think about it. EJ gets to live his truth, get famous, and get paid. But Magic has to swallow his pride, bite his tongue, and pretend to be something he's not. But it's not just Magic Johnson. Look around, and you'll see a whole pattern of older masculine black male celebrities. Guys who came up in an era where being soft or different got you clowned, who now have non-binary kids, and are forced to play the supportive role on camera. Marlon Ease is a perfect example. He's got a trans son, Kai, and while he's publicly supportive, watch any interview where he talks about it. He's funny about it, sure, but there's this underlying tension, like he's still processing it live on camera, and you can tell it wasn't his first choice.
How old is your daughter now?
My child's 23.
Okay.
24 now.
Okay.
And this was happening when they were 22, 23. And for me, like,
that's the let go time. That's like you're your own person now.
Yeah. But
And-
you know, you're trying to hold on, right? And you want this thing that's in your head, normalcy, and you're thinking about your grandchildren,
Yeah.
and you're all kinds of shit. And it's like, yo, it's not on me to think about none of that.
And the same thing with Eddie Murphy, except he doesn't even talk about his trans child. Eddie's son with Mel B, Angel, came out as trans, but Eddie never mentions Angel when talking about his kids. We only hear from sources that Eddie fully accepts Angel, but if Eddie were truly proud and happy, wouldn't he ever talk about it? He talks about his other kids. So why not Angel? And then you got someone like Dwayne Wade, who went the opposite way and is super public about supporting his trans daughter Zia. Almost too public, like he's overcompensating for something.
The trans conversation is not the entire conversation with us. This is 10% of our relationship. We have just conversation about anything.
Yeah.
Chicken fingers, French fries, like.
Remember our conversation on mustard?
Yeah, mustard. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want people to think that every time that Zaya and I sit down and have, this daddy-daughter time, and I tell you guys all the time, I always create moments with my village, for my people, right? Especially my kids. I'm gonna find these moments to create with them.
These are all men who built their entire brand on toughness, swag, and traditional masculinity. And now they're in a position where if they say the wrong thing, or even just stay quiet too long, they get dragged or canceled. But let me hear your takes on all this, especially the whole situation with E.J. Johnson. Do you think Magic truly accepts E.J.? And how do you feel about Katt's theory on the trans agenda and Baphomet rituals? Drop your comments below, and don't miss this next video.